What's up, guys, and welcome back to Skins in the Game. How you guys doing today? And how are you doing today, JW?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm not going to weather brag, but it got warm today. So, yes, I guess I
Ooh.
am going to.
It was cold and rainy here in the DC. It was supposed to snow, like to the point where public schools were closed, and we didn't get a flurry. It didn't flurry once, and it's like, are we in like Mississippi or something? Like the threat of snow, now we can't even go to school. Like,
It's happened before, but my question is do they go to remote learning or do they just take the day off?
that's a good question. I think they just take the day off because I think they abandoned the hybrid system. Like, I think they're going back to normal, quote unquote. Back to normal as far as it's the like. If it's a day off, it's a day off. If it's not a day off, it's not a day off. But we'll see. We'll see. What up, Fight for Old DC? We'll definitely talk about the stadium stuff. Apparently that happened a little bit more. Your boy, what's up, fellas? G-Man. Ooh, we already started with a super chat. Rashad Coker coming in for the $1.99. Says ATP, it's Carr, Wilson, Watson, Rodgers, or bust. At the moment, I just understood what in the world ATP was for a half second. I'm like, what does that mean? But no, at the moment, no, wait, that's not what it means. What is ATP?
At this point.
At this point, same idea. Same idea, different letters, but I got the context correctly.
Hey, I'm here to keep you straight.
Yeah,
so.
that's thank the Lord. But anyway, we'll definitely get into the discussion of where do we want to go in quarterback. What is Ron saying about the quarterback position? It's interesting. He had an interview last week after this show. I think it was the next day. So we're definitely going to talk about it for sure. But first off, we're going to start with the dad joke of the week.
Okay. It really makes the show, I know. But anyway, so I thought the dryer was shrinking my clothes. Turns out it was the refrigerator all along.
Okay, I wanted a dad joke of the week, not describing my life. All right, I didn't need you to like come and attack me on this wonderful Thursday afternoon, coming after my soul. Jeez. Let me drink my water. Just kidding. Here we go. What up, Pat? What up, Redskins man? How's it going? And thank you again, Rashad, for the super chat. We're definitely gonna get into that one.
Oh, by the way, the other refrigerator references, why did the guy knock on the refrigerator door before he opened it?
Why?
Because there might be salad dressing.
They're they're naked. They're dressing. Yep. Yeah, okay. It took me a half second.
We're done now.
I'm not gonna lie. It did take me a half. I'm like, oh. You still mad at me, bro? After last night? No, we're all good, Merle. We're all good, Merle. No worries. It's all fun and it's all fun. Discussing what do we think about the quarterbacks. That's the fun part of draft season. We all have our opinions, and we're going in. So here we go. All right. So next up, we have what do you got? You want me to go first this time? You always go first.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Here's my what do you got. This is now surfacing, and considering they all moved on in the playoffs, take a look at this picture from 2013. We have the Green Bay head coach, Matt LaFleur. The Niners, Kyle Shanahan, just upset the hated Cowboys. That could have been us. We could have beat the Cowboys. And then Sean McVay, the Titans coach. That is a beautiful... They all look, 28 years old or something?
At most.
And we had all of these guys, and they were... important positions. Sean McVay, he wasn't an OC. He ended up becoming our OC, so he did have a significant spot here. But 2 OCs and a quarterbacks coach, now head coaches of playoff teams. And yeah, I thought this was a great picture to describe it. This picture makes me want to scream.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of tears on Facebook about this. I saw a lot of people posting that. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, fair enough. But now we have Ron Rivera. We'll see how that goes. We're into year 2, 2 below 500 seasons. -4? No, -5. -2 in the first year and -3 in the second year. Thanks for the extra game, the NFL. Thank you. We appreciate that. But actually, the last game of the season we won, so we would have been 6-10 if you didn't give us that. But no.
Hey.
Anyway, all right. What do you got?
Okay, so I was reading on Rigo's rag
Oh yeah, not
that
Tennessee. Why did I say Tennessee? That's funny. Of course, he's the Rams coach. Thank you for correcting me, Pat.
yeah, well, I
Go
knew
ahead.
that. I just
Yeah.
processed that without saying anything. But anyway, the title of the article was a bold prediction that Washington will win 11 or more games in 2022,
Mm.
which we are the champions of the offseason. But the what do you got that I found this interesting is that in the past 30 seasons,
Oh, okay.
Washington
Third
has
season.
not has Washington has not won 11 plus games. They are the only team in the NFL that have not done that in the
Wow.
last 30 years. And I'm thinking, I guess Detroit had
11
their
and 5 one
moment.
year. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know the Jaguars were good, and I was going down the list, and everyone I thought about it was like, yeah, they actually had their moment. But so yes, that's the distinction is that the miserable past 30 seasons, we have never won 11 or more games, and we were the only team.
That is incredible.
Yes.
That actually is incredible. Like to be behind the Browns, the Lions. Well, the Texans had a moment there with the quarterback. The Jaguars.
They had their
Um,
years.
yeah,
Panthers.
because they went 13-3 and 13-3, I think, with the Garrard, the
And the
Jaguars did.
Jets, and because the other one I went to was the Jets. It's like, no, wait, they had that
Mark
stretch where they were really
Sanchez,
good.
the butt fumble, has more 11 win seasons than us in the last 30 years. Oh, that hurts my. Oh,
So
not the butt fumble. Oh my gosh. Oh man, that where this show ended before it got started. If we're mentioning the butt fumble, better than Washington. Oh gosh, and then
so
imagine if Scott Turner goes to like the Jaguars and wins the Super Bowl. Our offensive coordinator now, compared to the, and then somebody else said Mike McDaniel. I don't remember him as much, but apparently he might be on the way to being a head coach. Yeah, this is tough. Jags went to the AFC Championship in 2017. Yeah, well, I was just thinking in the 30 years, that's the first one that came to my head. But yeah, they did have a good year a few years ago with Leonard Fournette, Blake Bortles, and that great defense that they had
oh, and
at the
Jay
moment.
Gruden got a job, offensive coordinator. Now the team escapes me.
Jay Gruden was hired?
That's what I read. That
I'm
he got
looking
an
it up now.
offensive coordinator job.
Well, apparently I looked up Jay Gruden, and apparently that's a different person than Jay Gruden.
I think I read
um,
he got it. At first, I read a day or two ago that he was being interviewed, and then I thought I saw today that he got it. But
he
maybe
got
I'm
a
just.
second interview. It's with the
Oh,
Panthers.
okay,
So
my
he's
bad.
conducting a second interview. So apparently it's moving along. It's moving along for Jay Gruden. Jay Gruden is not a terrible offensive coordinator. And you know what I also was an underrated portion of Jay Gruden? I thought he was a tremendous talent evaluator. Like I thought we actually got more talented players under Jay Gruden, but
Hmm.
he wasn't a great leader of men. Like he wasn't a great head coach. But as far as a talent evaluator and being able to scheme up a pass game, I think he's actually pretty darn good. But
By the
unfortunately,
way,
it
I agree with
takes more.
Redskins, man. We should start referring to him as Jay Gurdon now.
The Jay Gurdon, the Jay Gurdon, the Jay Gurdon years.
Yes.
The five we had him for 5 years.
My impression of Jay Gruden on the sideline.
Didn't he have like the lip out sometimes? Like
Yeah, like he
something like
smelled something. like, like a defensive lineman near him or something passed gas, and he was like,
that. Like he smelled something. Oh, that's so good. That's
"Hey,
that caught me off guard. Sometimes you're funny, Dad. That's one in a row.
I have my moments."
No, that is hysterical. All right, well there you go. That's what we got, and now we're gonna hop in the topics of the day. I didn't do my run through, so I'm gonna do that real quick before we do. We're gonna say I haven't, I don't remember, and I don't know if you have a strong opinion, but we're gonna talk a little bit of name stuff, being 2 weeks away. We're going to talk about apparently there's a new report that the stadium might be heating up going to Virginia potentially. Ron Rivera had a press conference or an interview also with John Keim, says he believes now we're QB ready. Are we that much different? Compares Chase Young to Cam Newton in a way. And then we'll talk about the NFL playoff matchups this week and then go into our predictions for next week. All right. Well,
I'm really interested to know the angle of Cam Newton compared to Chase Young, or vice versa, or whatever.
yeah.
I really want to hear that one. That's
I know you
I'm
have a
interested.
negative opinion on Cam Newton and not the same negative opinion of Chase Young. So we'll find out if you will like Cam Newton a little bit more or if you will dislike Chase Young a little bit more. Yet to be, maybe both. Maybe they'll meet more in the middle. No. All right. I can't think of the name off the top of my head, so I want to just actually directly ask you this question. What name do you like 2 weeks from now? Like, if you could choose the name yourself, besides Redskins, of course, that's where we'd all go. But with the new direction, what name is your actual favorite, or do you have one?
I think I mentioned this before. I prefer the name to have red in it, whether it's Red Wolves, Red Hogs, Red something. I That would be my preference, but maybe
Okay.
it's just because I want to save the touchdown song.
Mm-hmm.
Would still work. But the final eight that uh, what's her name? Snyder.
Yeah, Julie Snyder,
No, not
right?
Julie. It's
Tanya?
Tanya. Thank you.
Tanya Snyder.
Yeah, that the the top eight that she let slip. I really don't have any major issues with any of them. I agree with you. I'm glad Red Tails is hopefully off the board. But so that would be the one red name that I would dislike. But that's my feeling is I'd like to have red in it
Mm-hmm.
just because I know it's
Yeah, Louis T, prominent YouTuber. You don't watch YouTube, so I don't even know if you know who this is. But he's like the biggest Washington YouTuber, like independent YouTuber, I should say, on the platform of YouTube. And he's predicting the Hogs for the angle of basically they haven't mentioned anything about the Hogs. Right? They've talked about the Red Wolves. They've talked about Commanders. They've talked about Red Tails. They've talked about so many other things, but yet they have been so pressing to talk about how, bringing the pride out of the fan base again and trying to make it tied to the history of this city. And he's like, in a weird way, like the Hogs might be actually the name that they're keeping under wraps and they're sending out all these other smoke signals of what it possibly could be.
so it's really a surprise.
Right, so it's actually a truly surprise. And if they call them war hogs or red hogs, probably not, but war hogs or wart hogs or just hogs, we can go back to kind of that era of the 80s and early 90s. And then also the biggest reason why hogs is obviously the answer is why February 2nd, 2022? Why 2/2/2022? And it's because it's Groundhog Day. Are you not convinced? Like, it's got to be hogs now.
No, it's an interesting take. I don't think that would be. I don't know. I can't argue with it, but I'm just thinking that doesn't really sound like a professional name. But
Fair enough.
I wouldn't be adverse or averse to it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's I just don't see them going that route. But that would be a better name than a lot of the other ones that have been floated. So
Do you have a prediction? What's your? So I know what you want now. You want something with the red. What's your prediction?
my I think it's going to be the Red Wolves.
Oh, you're going with this theory of they threw it out there that they're not going to go for it, but then they reverse psychology into or whatever you want to call it. Of
Yeah,
like,
we worked it out with Minnesota. Everything's good. Um, I find it hard. I'm hard pressed to believe that Minnesota has patented the Wolves part of it to the extent that they could legally stop another team from having Wolves in their name. That's just my feeling.
so you just think the excuse is such bullcrap that it's like there's no way that actually be real.
The only thing, and I'm calling it a patent. I guess that's the right word for it. But the
Right.
only thing that I can compare to it was the Hard Rock Cafe
Uh-huh.
will file lawsuits with any company or business that opens up with at least two of the three. Like there was the Hard Times Cafe came out before Hard Rock, but if a restaurant or place opens up that has at least two out of Hard Rock Cafe. So the Hard something cafe or the something rock cafe, they will file lawsuits against it and have won. So
Wow.
because it's too close to what they're basically saying they're riding off of our popularity. But I don't see how you can patent. I mean, Timberwolves, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I get that. That's a very specific thing. But then you take Wolves off the table for any other major league sports team because you have the Wolves. But anyway, that's my opinion. But
Fair enough. The Washington Pop Tarts, I think, should be a front runner. I think that needs to be. I actually think they overlooked this one. I think that that's probably
I can't wait to
probably up
see
there.
the mascot.
Oh man, is it going to be strawberry, blueberry, the cinnamon? Like, oh, it's going to be a highly debated time, or all of them. And then they have them race at halftime, 100
Yeah.
yard dash for the Pop Tarts, and then you have the sections. You know how they do the cars up on the thing. You have the section. Yeah. Oh, today we're the cinnamon Pop Tart. We're rooting for the cinnamon. We're down here in the 100s. Let's go cinnamon. And then you get the second level. Let's go blueberry. Come on. Oh man. Yeah. Oh, the Pop Tarts. That's for real. Man, and then you call the stadium the toaster. You call the stadium the toaster. You're putting the Pop Tarts in the toaster.
All right. You almost made me spit my drink out with that one. That was good. The toaster.
Oh, don't get fried in the toaster. Oh
Hey,
gosh.
well, and the new stadium can be built like stainless steel with, the slots on top for the sun to come
yeah.
in. So you have
Make the whole
semi-open-
the new stadium just looks like a big toaster.
Yeah. You know how the Raiders stadium looks like a Roomba.
Tim, stop. Snyder could be watching. Don't give him crazy ideas. Oh, that's funny. Today, we got the Green Bay Packers at the Washington Pop-Tarts. Oh, gosh. Yeah, it was not a sweet victory today. It was a tart loss right now. All right, here we go. On to the next thing. Report says, according to Fox 5 Washington, that Governor Glenn Youngkin of Virginia apparently urging lawmakers to push for a new stadium in Virginia. Now, the stadium wouldn't be definitely ours, I guess, because but he wants to push for a football stadium, is what he's saying. And apparently, there's the old baseball stadium authority created in 1992. He wants to maybe redo that into a football stadium. I'm not sure, or like any direction. I'm not sure. Like, there's many ways they could go with it. They're being kind of secretive of what the locations are under consideration. Apparently, ones that have been floated in the past are Loudoun County, Dale City, and Prince William County. I know you moved to Florida, so you may not have a strong opinion anymore since you don't go to every game like you used to. But do you think it's a good idea for the Washington football team to move to Virginia?
No, I agree with what Brett just said. I wish it would be at the old RFK site. We see what the National Stadium did for that area in DC, and I think it would be huge. The problem is that, and I don't want to get political, but the liberal mentality is they don't want to give any kind of tax breaks. So I think that Virginia would be more inclined to give them the tax breaks that they're going to want. And the argument, of course, is they only play 8 games a year, well, 9, potentially 9 now with the 17th game. But because it's only for half the year, then that really doesn't generate enough revenue for the city to be interested in. That's the angle that Sharon Pratt Kelly took, and some liberal friends of mine have said that it's not, the money generating is not enough for them to get tax breaks. And so I think that they're more likely to go to Virginia for that reason than to go back to DC. It's unfortunate. I would love to see it at the old RFK site. And like
That's
I said,
what
I
Brett
think it
was
would
just saying.
revitalize.
Yeah, tear down the RFK and put the new stadium there. It's definitely an interesting idea, and it's obviously been floated several times. I drive by it quite often, but yeah, I don't.
Well,
is
Jack
traffic gonna
Cook
be any
tried to
better?
do that. No, there's not a lot of ways into it. Although with
Right.
the metro access, to Brett's point, that would help. But that was Jack Cook's feeling back
Mm-hmm.
when he was trying to get a stadium built, and basically Sharon Pratt Kelly told him, "No, we're not giving you any. You want to build it there, fine, but we're not giving you anything." So that's when he was like, "Fine, I'll go build this horrible stadium in Maryland to show you." But I think it's more likely to be Virginia, but I would love to see it at the old location. Absolutely.
There you go. All right. Um, I don't. I just never had strong opinions on where it's going to be. And when I went to games, obviously now I do this play-by-play here, so I don't go to games anymore. But I never really had a strong opinion. I wanted to just keep it closer, is my thing. I know a lot of people hate the location where it is now. I never really minded it. I liked the tailgating there. I liked the I didn't mind the in and outs. I thought it was easy to get off the beltway, get back on. But I know that the traffic's built up quite a bit. But I think that's any football game. No matter where you put it, traffic's going to be terrible to get out.
Well, and a
Like, if
couple
you
things.
drive in.
We used to go early and stay late, which
Yeah.
made it much easier to get in and out. There was people that, and I laugh at this, that people expected go to the game at 12:30, 12:40, and that they're going to be able to get in and get to their seat and be on time, and they complain that it takes an hour or more to get in. Okay, that number one. Number two, the problem with the location is a lot of people I've heard compare it to the Ravens Stadium, which is in the inner city that's got
Mm,
restaurants. They've got restaurants and all of this stuff is like Camden Yards is the same way. I think the National Stadium is doing the same thing where there's all kinds of things for people to do within walking distance of the stadium. The
mm-hmm.
problem with the location is the people that own, there's that huge church there. I can't remember what it is, Zion or
Jericho.
Jericho. Is that it?
Yeah, I think it's
But
Jericho.
they own a big swath. So all of the play or the
Surrounding area.
property, all the
Yeah.
property around the area is um, I mean, there's some, I guess you call a church commercial. I'm not sure if that's the right thing, but it's a lot of residential. And so therefore, all you have when you go to the stadium is what Dan Snyder gives you. And the other
Mm,
stadiums allow competition to where, like I said, you can walk a block in from the Ravens Stadium and have your choice of restaurants and sports bars and all of this stuff to do. And so I think when people compare that, you look at FedEx, and it's in the middle of nowhere as far as businesses are concerned.
mm-hmm.
And you got to walk a mile from the subway. But yeah, I think that's the problem, that it just doesn't have the ambiance. Although it seems to me a lot of stadiums you look at least from the aerial view, it's like they're surrounded by a huge parking lot and you don't have a lot of stuff within walking distance.
Right.
But the inner city, or
No,
I don't.
yeah. Just to go back to the Baltimore, I have been to M&T Bank Stadium, and I actually do know exactly. They have I can't remember exactly what they call it, but it's basically like a pathway from Camden Yards to M&T Bank Stadium, and like on game day, there's like little stands or whatever. There's live bands playing as you walk by. There's all sorts of activities. I think even some people like set up literally booths for like activities that you could do, like carnival style
Right.
games. So
Yep.
I when you compare it to that kind of experience, I see what you're saying. That yeah, we parked in the garage, we walked by Camden Yards, and we walked down this path with a ton of stuff going on when me and Daryl went, and it was a kind of a cool experience. I actually not gonna lie on that. That's and you were talking about Nats Park. Nats Park is nice. It's Redskins fan 10 agrees. I've been down there quite often, done work down there. I'm actually doing work literally right across the street from it now. Like I have a job that I've been going to that all this week is literally I walk out the front door of this job and the entrance to Nat Stadium's right there. So yeah, no, it's definitely a cool location. A lot going on. A lot of restaurants being built up. A lot of bars. A lot of money being thrown in right around that
Hey,
stadium.
for whatever it's worth, it's changed that area. That
Yeah,
area was terrible
yeah.
for. I mean, I drove through there many hundreds of times to and from work, and the way that area changed when Nats Park was built,
Mm-hmm.
it's a 180-degree change, or as some people would say, it's a 360-degree change.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What was his name? Why do we always forget his name? I feel like whenever we quote him, We forget it. Like the
What,
coach,
Spurrier?
right? Yeah, Spurrier. Didn't he say that? Is that or is
I
that
don't
one of those
know.
old Yogi Berra
Yeah,
quotes?
I don't know. I
One of the
know
two.
Spurrier was hindsight's 50-50.
Hindsight's not very good. All
Not
right.
too good.
All right, next one up. So yeah, I don't have a strong opinion where it ends up. I don't go to games anymore. I would preferably I would want it close. So I guess the DC would be closer to me, but I don't have necessarily like I'm sold on a specific location. I
Yeah, if I was still back up there, I wouldn't want to drive an hour and a half to go to a game.
yeah, going around the Beltway to go to the
Yeah.
like especially all way out to Loudoun County or so. Yeah, that's not the move for us Marylanders, but we voted for it, basically.
Yeah,
All right, here we go.
Virginians.
Yeah. All right. Ron Rivera had an interview with John Keim and now is selling to the fan base that we are now ready for a quarterback. Last offseason, the whole idea is he wasn't really pressed for a quarterback. He wanted to build a team and then be able to plop a quarterback into the team in the future after we already build the team. Then you get your quarterback. Now he's seems to be saying that, hey, now we're ready for a quarterback. Do you think, compared to last offseason to this offseason, are we significantly or much better at all than we were 1 year ago?
No, I think in a lot of ways we've regressed, but my overall view of this is what is Ron Rivera going to say? No, we're not ready for a quarterback. Right? I mean, you think about
He
from a
did it
head coach.
last year.
Oh, I guess that's true.
He did it last year. It's like, no, we're still building. We still have some piece. I don't know what angle he could go with, but maybe now, to your point, is it too late? I don't know. Technically, he did it last year, but you can keep going. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I think that, like I said, I think we've regressed. I think the defense, for whatever reason, um, regressed, and I think it's because maybe offensive linemen have figured out how to deal with one move chase. But I
Yeah.
wouldn't. I don't have a problem with them bringing in a quarterback right now. My biggest thing, like I said, is I don't want them to sell the farm to get somebody.
Right.
So I know that we talked pregame about the possibility of Garoppolo.
Yeah, that's great. I'll bring that up right now. Apparently ESPN has now threw out an article. ESPN predicts. Brian Manning wrote it. I'm not sure if he's the one that is predicting it or if he talked to an insider or I have concern. But anyway.
Yeah, I didn't get the gist of that either.
But he's talking about how Rodgers and Wilson and now Derek Carr that they won the play or went to the playoffs, that they're probably not likely. And then with San Francisco already tipping their hand, to your point before you said, of, hey, we drafted a future now quarterback, so Jimmy is not our future. Does Washington make a move for Jimmy Garoppolo is what ESPN's saying. They're predicting it. How do you feel about that? Do you think that's what Ron Rivera is looking for?
I'm not sure what he's looking for. It doesn't like light a fire under me or cause elation. It's if they could get him for a reasonable amount of money, I think he's a serviceable quarterback. I don't know if he's the answer. What's that?
Pull a Jarris. I agree. Rivera should pull a Jarris and just call our whole team trash. Everybody but Cameron Curl, Terry McLaurin, everybody else is trash, right? No, anyway, sorry. I just saw that comment. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay. But again, if they could get him for a reasonable amount, I will admittedly say that or admit that I have not watched a whole bunch of Garoppolo. I've seen some good things. He's got decent arm strength. If you ask me, he's got some mobility. But I don't see him as in that somebody is like, oh my God, we got the franchise quarterback now.
Right.
But
Jimmy does win, though. He does have an incredible record throughout his first, 50 games or something like that. Like, he's up there. Like, I think he has like a 70% win percentage or something like that. Like, it's been nuts. But, all right. The interesting thing about Jimmy Garoppolo is we shouldn't have to trade for him, actually, which is wild. He only has one more year on his deal. And if San Francisco right now, if they plan on moving forward with Trey Lance, it's almost impossible to keep Jimmy Garoppolo. He's a $27 million cap hit. And if they cut him, they could save over $25 million in cap space. $25.6 million. So there's a potential, because also when you're trading for Jimmy Garoppolo, you have to take on that contract. Are we really going to pay $27 million for a potential bridge quarterback for our rookie quarterback that I hope we're going to draft? Like, so if we went the Jimmy Garoppolo route, I don't think it's going to be a trade. I think it would be San Francisco cut him, and then we moved in on the offseason and then paid a much smaller contract, whatever that contract may be.
Right. So I'm looking at the career stats of Garoppolo. 2021, 68.3 completion percentage, 3,800 yards, 20 TDs.
Sorry, restart. I'm sorry. I'm trying to follow you.
No worries. 68.3% completion.
Okay.
3,800 yards, 3,810, and 20 TDs to 12 interceptions.
Okay.
And a 98.7 quarterback rating. That was last year. I'm looking at
last
the year
as in 2020 or last
2021.
Year 2021? Okay,
This
2021.
I'm sorry, this last season.
Okay.
This I'm guessing he did not play all in 2020. He's got 67.1%, 1,096 yards, 7 touchdowns and 5 interceptions with a 92 rating. And in 2019 it was 69.1%, 39.78, and 27 and 13 TD to interception with a 102 rating. That's pretty good. But again, he doesn't light my
light your hair on fire. He's not exciting.
It's like, but again, I wouldn't be patently against it, but
right.
I like your idea if they let 49ers get rid of him. I think 49ers are going to try to get something out of him though before they do that. And the article I read too from ESPN is they said he will be playing for somebody next year. So
right, it's just what can you possibly get for, like, as I said, if you make the trade, you're now like somebody's sending draft picks for $27 million of Jimmy Garoppolo.
Right.
I think that's just fiscally irresponsible for any GM out there that's unless somebody's absolutely in love with Jimmy G. And I don't know who that possibly could be other than maybe Bill Belichick, but they already got their young rookie in Mac Jones because Bill Belichick wanted to trade Tom Brady to keep Jimmy G in the past. Like, I don't see who in the world could make that trade. And then somebody else mentioned I'd rather go for Kirk Cousins. I mean, I'm talking about Jimmy G being a $27 million cap hit. Do you know how much of a cap hit Kirk is this year? Just take a guess.
29.
Higher.
Over 30?
Yeah. Higher.
Yeah, let ask Minnesota how they feel about him. Although
I haven't keep going, or do you want me to tell you?
35?
Higher.
Tell me, I can't even count that high.
$45 million cap hit in 2022. And guess what? They can't cut him because it's fully guaranteed if they cut him, they lose all of it.
I actually had somebody
$5 million.
I actually had somebody, a friend of mine, not sure if you've met him, Brenda, her boyfriend Bill is a Minnesota fan, and he was arguing with me that Kirk Cousins has no time, that there's the worst offensive line and he's getting killed. And then I watched the next game that he was playing in, and they said that Minnesota has allowed the least amount of sacks in the league, whatever week that was. And I'm like, yeah, he's getting killed back there. He's a stats guy.
Yeah.
He's a stats guy, and he's not going to take chances, and he's going to make stupid mistakes. And I know he's very polarizing. People either love him or they hate him. There's not a whole lot of people that are like, I'd pass on him. I just don't think he's the guy. But
I do not like that, says Brett. You like that? I do not like that. I do not. Yeah, great agent. Yeah, and that's why he didn't want to sign here. And of course, there was the behind the scenes stuff, or like I guess it's not so much behind the scenes anymore. Of course, we know the Bruce Allen and the owner and the RG3, all that nonsense. We get that he didn't want to be there for all that nonsense. But also, we offered him a contract that was not fully guaranteed, and he wanted a fully guaranteed contract. Like, he was not going to play, and
But
he got his $84 million. Go ahead.
He didn't counter. That was the biggest thing that was telling to me. The Redskins gave him an offer, and Kirk Cousins never came back with a counter because he knew, and my feeling, him and his agent knew that if they came back with a counter, the Redskins could say yes. And I don't believe he wanted to play here. I think he thought that he was getting a golden opportunity in Minnesota that was one game out of the Super Bowl, that had great offensive line, had all the pieces, and he was going to go in there and push him over the edge, and everything was going to be great. Well, that didn't happen. So,
to say the least, because the next year I think they went 8-8 after a 13-3 season. Merle Garrett, right? Yeah, Merle Garrett asked, actually earlier, where was it? Who's really in the Watson trade rumors? Not Philly, not Miami. After firing Flores, Carolina, maybe Giants are going with Jones or get Russell Wilson. Washington betting against themselves. I think that Watson is going to follow Flores wherever Flores ends up, and I think Flores has the field. Like, he can choose to go anywhere other than Miami, of course, because they fired him. But I think that the Giants would take them as his first choice. I think the Bears would take him as their first choice. I think Minnesota would take him as their first choice, and I also think Houston potentially would take him as their first choice. And I think there might be another opening. Oh, in Denver, potentially. And I think wherever Brian Flores ends up being, we talked about this last week, me and you, of the whole agent, like they have the same agents and all that kind of stuff. And I think that he follows him. All right.
Well, hold on, real quick before we move on, that the other thing that I read today actually is the problem with Watson and these 22 women that have accused him of sexual misconduct, and rumor has it that he see you, Kevin, but there's actually a rumor that they say there's evidence that he tried to basically pay one of them or some of them off with $100,000, and in light of, and again, this is the article I'm reading, in light of what the Redskins are going through with all of this sexual harassment, thank you, that they were saying that it would be a mistake for them to bring him in this area. I think he's a great quarterback. He's got all the attributes and the speed and all of that, but I just think it was an interesting take to say the Redskins would make a mistake by bringing him in, claiming that they're trying to clean everything up, but and again, allegations could just be, trying to get some money. But anyway, that's all I have to say.
The NFL, winning cures all. And
absolutely.
Anywhere you plop them, they're going to start winning some games. Maybe not win Super Bowls, but they're going to start winning some games because he's that talented. Flores is overrated. Interesting. You're like one against garbage teams. Other than that, he's done. Maybe. All right. Well, anyway. All right. On to the next thing. And we mentioned it. Ron Rivera compares Chase Young to Cam Newton. And basically, the comparison here is he says that Chase wants it so bad, but just like Cam Newton did, they need to learn how to get there, right? They want to try to do too much. They think, especially being the number 1 pick for Cam Newton, the number 2 pick for Chase Young, they have all this pressure on them to succeed right away and then do as much as possible. They're supposed to be game changers. They're supposed to take over the entire game, put it on their back, put their team on their back. And Ron Rivera basically says that Chase Young was doing too much, and just like Cam Newton, he needs to learn how to actually be a pro and do his job to the best of his ability and go from there.
Learn more than one move.
Right. What's your thoughts on that? And also, I have the angle of, is there some blame? Obviously, failure falls on Chase Young's shoulders. He's a man. If he doesn't succeed, it's on him. He's got to make sure that he's doing the best that he can. But is there an angle to blame the fan base for putting so much pressure on Chase Young? I have another angle on that, but just get your thoughts
I would say
on the whole comparison.
My thing about Chase Young, and again, is a freak of nature, unbelievable talent, that he came into the league. coming from a situation where he was able to just manhandle his competition. That he didn't have to be creative, that he didn't have to learn multiple moves, he didn't have to fool anybody. Now he's playing against the elite of the elite, and he can't just overpower them. So he's got to start using some smarts and learn. Can't remember the Redskin defensive guy that was saying that Chase Young has one move, and it's the sweep over like that. And good offensive linemen, it's like they figure out how to counter that. Now you have to come up with something else. I think it's his responsibility, if you want to call that he's got to learn how to beat and how to outsmart the best of the best, and then let his athleticism take over. Be creative, figure out ways to beat them. And so I don't think it's a pressure thing. I think it's just what he was used to.
Okay, so you don't think there was any pressure, like the reason that
Well,
Ron Rivera and the reason that I say, or did you want to keep going? Sorry.
no. You go ahead.
Yeah, so the reason that Ron Rivera and the reason that obviously I don't know for a fact, but what I see when I watch is a guy getting out of position sometimes because he's trying to do as much as humanly possible. He's trying to stop the run and sack the quarterback at the exact same time. Like he's trying to do absolutely everything. He's trying to follow everything and do as much as he possibly can to be the freak of nature that everybody claims he is, right? And not saying that they're wrong. I'm just saying that that's what everybody says about him. So he's trying to live up to that. So the angle that the fan base is part of the problem is with Jonathan Allen, who the team obviously respects. The team clearly gave him a nice payday and paid him here long term, so he should be here for quite some time. Maybe not for life, but definitely quite some time. Is the fan base was just trashing Jonathan Allen for only getting 2 sacks last year. He's overrated. He's not that good because he didn't have all the flashy numbers. And these younger guys, like my age and younger, and especially younger than me, they're all over social media. So they're all seeing the trash that Jonathan Allen's getting. And then on top of that, you see all these predictions that Chase Young is going to get 15 sacks, 16 sacks, 17, 18 sacks. And he's like, I got to get there. Otherwise, the fan base is not going to respect me as the number 2 overall pick. Like if I do my job, quote unquote, and only end up with 7 sacks, and yeah, I did what I was supposed to do, but now the fan base doesn't see that, and I got to do more. And especially when he watches guys like T.J. Watt, watches guys like Max Crosby that sometimes just take over games. Myles Garrett. So you don't, but you think that's all?
No, I'm not saying.
I'm reaching in this case, and no, the fan base is not to blame at all, and it's all on Chase Young.
No, I mean, I understand your point in saying that I'm not saying there's not, or I shouldn't have said that there's no pressure, or that the fans aren't putting any pressure on them. I say that fans put pressure on a lot of people. And you're in the pros, and you look at Bosa, and I know they're different positions, but Bosa, Von Miller, Micah Parsons, these game-changing people that are they're smart, they're fast, and they use their abilities, but they also use their creativity, or whatever the word I'm looking for, to be successful. And if Chase Young is because of the pressure put on him, because of what he heard that he could be, that he's not playing smart football, then I say that's on him.
Yeah.
But so I get there's pressure, no doubt about it. But you can't say, oh, well, the crowd wants me to get 15 sacks. Well, the crowd wants everybody to get 15 sacks.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate, I agree. When you're a grown man, it falls on you first and foremost. Like it's your
Which you did say that when you started, yes.
Yeah, it's your responsibility, and clearly you're not handling the quote unquote pressure well. Because yes, it's around. You're the 2nd overall pick. You're gonna get it no matter what. And I guess even bringing this up, and to be fair, or to play devil's advocate, when you're the number 2 overall pick, you're gonna get pressure. Like you're not going to stop the fan base from putting pressure on a number 2 overall pick. Like that's just impossible. Like you're expecting the world.
If that bothers you, you're in the wrong business.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can't do it. But it's just interesting that it's can the fan base be better? I don't know. Like, it's as far as it's impossible because they're just not. They don't know football, and you can't. They just look at Jonathan Allen's sack totals. They just look at Jonathan Allen's tackles totals and think, oh, he's not very good. Because you look at Aaron Donald playing the same position and he ends up with 13 sacks. Well, if Jonathan Allen's not getting 13 sacks, he sucks. If he gets 2 sacks, he's terrible. And it's like, no, if you actually watch and actually just focus on Jonathan Allen, he's taking on double teams almost every single play, and he's setting up Deron Payne, he's setting up Montez Sweat, he's setting up Chase Young. Like, sometimes he's the quote-unquote decoy. As far as he's just supposed to run into their man, eat the double team, and then they're supposed to eat. So you're just never going to get that out of the fan base. But I thought it was an interesting question. Maybe it wasn't, but it's
no. It's a valid question. Hey, we talked about it for how long?
Yeah, we did. All right. Anything else Washington football team related before we move on to these NFL playoff games?
No, I think we covered it.
All right. Thanks for everybody in the comments. Let's see what you guys are saying. Oh, gosh. I think that. Sorry. All of a sudden something was screaming in my ears. Anyway, I think Dan keeps his hand out of the cookie jar this year, but if we don't get our crap figured out, you can bet next year he'll be back to his old self. Oh, he did spending a ton of money in free agency, going after every little distraction, every flyer fly. Oh, go that way. Oh, they go that way. What's the good old days? Man, you guys
look,
are nice
a squirrel.
Paragraph. I like it. You guys are sending some big comments. Sorry that I can't get to all of them, but just see. We're able to see the difference in the line without Allen. That guy is worth the money. Yeah, I love Allen for sure. Aaron Donald faces double teams. Yes, Aaron Donald and Jonathan Allen isn't Aaron Donald. I know I compared that, but Aaron Donald's clearly better, but Jonathan Allen is also a stud in his own right. But we're done with mediocrity. Heineke brings mediocrity. Ron set himself up for this, but that's only because he's guaranteed 5 years. The pressure is not on Rivera this year. He has said many times it takes years to build the team, so he's not doing as much, or not putting as much pressure on himself that way. He's trying to, but the fan base is definitely getting frustrated. The more and more, I mean, if you continue to lose year in and year out, you're now 2 years in a row with 7 wins. Progress was not quote unquote made, but then again, he didn't go into the year with the quarterback that he initially signed. I mean, we had him for a total of a quarter and a half, so maybe it would have been different if you had Ryan Fitzpatrick in there. Not necessarily because I think Ryan Fitzpatrick is the better quarterback, but he's clearly the better leader, and he clearly gets people motivated. And Miami really responded when he was in the game compared to Tua in some ways. But anyway, thanks for all your comments. It's fun. No one wants pain.
Santiago, the Eagles won a Super Bowl in 2 years.
The Eagles won a Super Bowl in 2 years, and they did it with a backup quarterback, too. It was, like, I hate ESPN sometimes, man. Just stop playing your ads.
I hate when it does that.
Anyway, and they did it with a backup quarterback, Nick Foles. But Nick Foles did not play like no backup quarterback. My man Nick Foles, that year, he played as good as anybody's played in a playoff run. Joe Flacco type numbers in that playoff game, or playoff numbers back in 2012. But for sure, Ioannidis is better than Payne. I don't know. I like both.
Well, and I was going to say too, Foles was one of those quarterbacks where he wins the Super Bowl and no team really wanted him. Do you know what I'm saying? It seemed like after he won that Super Bowl, Philly went back to Wentz, and nobody jumped on Nick Foles. Like, it's like, wait a minute, I just played great and won you a Super Bowl, and I can't get a job.
Nowhere. Well, he did get paid to play down in Jacksonville, but then he got hurt, and then Gardner Minshew created Minshew madness, and then it was like, do they go back to Nick Foles because he wasn't looking that good? It was a weird time for him. But I hear what you're saying, because you go from Super Bowl champion to months later, I'm on a different team, maybe having a future. It's a That's why they call it not for long, right? NFL stands for not for long.
That's it.
Well, anyway, okay, here we go. I'm so sick of the dumpster fire team. All right, here we go. Let's hop into these NFL playoff games, and just to point out that for you picking against the spread, I think you got all but one wrong. You picked underdogs. No, you did pick San Francisco, and then you picked the Rams. So you got two right out of the four. You did great. Honestly, I don't remember what I did against the spread. I know I picked 4 games correct, but that was out without the spread.
Well, wait a minute. I picked KC.
You picked. Well, you picked KC straight up, but I think you picked the Steelers with the spread 12.5 points.
Oh, maybe I did. Maybe you're right.
I think you went underdogs all the way until the final game, and that's where you picked the Rams with the spread. So you did a great job. I'm calling you out. No, I'm just kidding. It was funny. But as far as the
I did win a 2-way parlay with the KC game. Apparently, the day of the game, I had a change of heart. I picked KC in the over. I think it was actually 13.5 or 13 that on the books, the pool I'm in. I think it was 13, and I went with KC in the over, and I won a $50 2-way. So
there you go. All right, good for you. Good for you. I think I won one parlay. I think I won the anti-NFC East parlay. I think I made one bet where it was I picked Tampa and San Francisco, and I think that one won. And then the rest lost because I picked Dallas and the other ones, and that didn't work out. So, but anyways, it is what it is. Thanks, guys. Much appreciated the talk show. Thanks, Lance. Thanks. I appreciate you guys watching. All of you, all 32 of you right now, and anybody else that's clicked through. Thank you guys for hanging out with us, and we still got some discussions to go through, and we'll go through them. And here we go. We're gonna start with the first wild card playoff game of the weekend, and it was the Las Vegas Raiders going against the Cincinnati Bengals, and we predicted a close matchup, and it was pretty much close, but not close enough for the spread. It did come down to the wire. The Raiders had a chance to score a touchdown at the end, and Derek Carr threw a pick on 4th and long. Cincinnati, though, with Joe Burrow, move on 26-19. Joe Burrow, 24 for 34, 244 yards, 2 touchdowns. What were your thoughts coming away from this game?
I thought it was a good game, and I stand by my comment I think last week where I said that the Raiders coach has to be considered for Coach of the Year. Mm-hmm. I thought he had his team ready. I thought it was a fun game to watch. I don't know if you want to go to the one call when we start bashing the refs, but I thought all in all that it was a good game, and I was really impressed with all the things the Raiders went through this year that he managed to get them. And if they don't look, and I know how things work, but if they don't make him the head coach instead of the interim head coach, then I think they're making a mistake. He has to have at least another year of a try. So
hey, I wonder how often the interim head coach actually gets the job the next year. Like I bet it's probably a really low percentage. Like the only other one I can think of, I believe, was no wait, did he get it? Actually, I was thinking about the Colts guy when Pagano had cancer. No, I don't think Bruce Arians had the job. I think he ended up becoming the Cardinals. So I don't know how many people get the interim head coaching job and then keep it.
I would agree with you. I don't have the numbers right now, but I would agree with you that it's relatively low.
But not many people have gone through what he's gone through. That's for sure.
Nope. But
yeah.
But yeah, back to the call that I heard the whistle, and I thought my feeling was that Burrow stepped out of bounds because you heard the quick whistle, and then he threw the ball, and the guy, I don't know. I understand what the NFL came out and said afterwards that by rule the play should have been, it was blown dead. It should have not counted, but I don't know that the Raiders stopped playing. People were saying, "Oh yeah, you stopped playing." No, Burrow threw it to the inside. The defender was on the outside. The guy took 2 steps to his right and jumped up and caught the ball. And I don't know that you could say definitively that the Raiders heard the whistle, so they stopped playing.
Right.
But by rule, it should not have been a touchdown. And I know they say, "Oh, and they won by 7." That doesn't mean squat to me because that touchdown doesn't count the whole game. I think the whole game changed. so many things after that changed. So you can't say, well, they won by a touchdown, and if they didn't count that touchdown, it would have been a tie game. No, that's not how it works. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, also they would have gotten a field goal, so the difference would have been a field goal there, right? And then you could say the Raiders could have scored a field goal. But also, if they followed the rules, so to get the understanding, is by rule that should not have been a touchdown.
Right.
Theoretically, by rule. And if they don't, though, the rule is the play is redone. So they could have scored the very next play anyway on 3rd and goal from the 4. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that they score. What if they ran the ball up the middle, got it 2 yards, and then they went for it on 4th down and got it? They could have gotten it in 2 downs. Who knows? But by rule, you can say the Raiders got screwed, right? But in reality, if they did not give that Bengals the touchdown, then by a long mile, the Bengals got screwed. Like, if the Bengals ended up getting, like, screwed in that game and lost, the Bengals would have been the only ones that got screwed because that would have been a touchdown. Because I agree with you that I don't think that the defender stopped in time. Like, there was no if he would have ran his hardest, he wouldn't have stopped that touchdown.
Right.
Like,
And
it wouldn't have
the other thing I wanted to say is the refs, they talk about it all the time, that the refs hold off on whistles because with instant replay and blah, 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 that they want to wait till the very last. So if there's a fumble, is it a fumble? Is it not a fumble? They don't blow the whistle. They let the play out, and then they go back and look, was the guy's knee down?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that in a play like this, there's an instant whistle when Burrow's foot wasn't within a foot of the sideline? I mean, it wasn't like it was that close.
It wasn't close.
It wasn't even close. So was it an inadvertent whistle where maybe that happens? You got the whistle in your mouth and you accidentally blow the whistle. But why the speedy whistle in that case? They could have easily all touchdowns are reviewed. They could have easily said, oh, Joe Burrow stepped out of bounds. It's an incomplete pass. But, man, that whistle was like, bang. And then they're like.
It's funny to say inadvertent whistle because I believe these whistles cannot be whistled inadvertent. Like, you can't just, like, it's not like you put the whistle in your mouth and you can just, like, breathe and it starts whistling. Like, I'm pretty sure you have to put your mouth in a certain way to get it to actually do the real whistle that you hear.
Have to purse your lips around it and blow hard. I get that.
Yeah. Like, it's an inadvertent whistle, I think, would be kind of wild. Like, I think he intended to blow the whistle. I just think he messed up.
Yeah. Even
though they're calling it an inadvertent whistle, but it's only inadvertent because it was a wrong whistle, not because the guy didn't actually intend to blow the whistle. But I was thinking the same thing, too, of, like, because I'm not saying you're crazy for saying that, because I was thinking about that earlier this year. That's why earlier today, okay, he blew the whistle inadvertently, and I was even thinking about making the joke of, like, from now on, we're making a policy change that you have to keep your whistle on your hand, and then you can't put it up to your mouth until you're ready to blow it, right? Like, you can't just keep it in your mouth anymore. Yeah. Like, but
the question is, what the hell did he? What the hell did he see?
I don't know. That's a great point.
It's like,
what did they see all game? It wasn't just that call, right?
I mean, if the line's here and his foot hit here, and the guy, then you could say, oh, he thought his foot was out of bounds, and it wasn't. It was at least a foot and a half.
And the foot was clearly in the air. Like the other one that was going out of bounds, yeah.
Yeah, so what was, if it was intentional, what the hell did he see? So I was trying to give the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he had a brain fart and was like, blew the whistle and like, oh, wait, I didn't mean to blow the whistle. But anyway.
Yeah. No, it's So, yeah, and also 4 days ago, it was reported that referees from the Bengals-Raiders game not expected to work in the playoffs again, which is interesting because that wasn't the only bad call either. Like, we were watching that game live on the channel, obviously, and there was a lot of complaints of, like, really ticky-tack holding calls against both teams. I don't think they were trying to screw any one team. What was the final tally of penalties? 7 for each team, 56 yards against the Raiders and against the Bengals and 46 against the Raiders. So both teams got penalties called either way, but it was not. There was definitely some questionable calls at best in that game that I was not impressed with. But Overall, I thought Joe Burrow played phenomenally as far as the winning team, to give them credit. Jamar Chase, the rookie receiver, 9 catches, 116 yards in his first playoff game, number 5 pick overall, absolute stud. And the Bengals, I don't think that they have enough to win now. I think they still have a couple of holes to fill, and also I think they need a little bit more experience before they actually go all the way. Kind of like Pat Mahomes didn't win it in his first year. They got to the AFC Championship game, but they didn't win it. So I don't predict them going too much farther, but I got to respect what they're doing. They're doing a great job, and they did it opposite way of Ron Rivera. They got the quarterback, and then they built the team around him. But anyway, any last thoughts on this game before we move on to the next one?
Nope.
So this game was much more interesting for Buffalo fans, I guess, because Buffalo won 47-17, and literally the Patriots could not stop them. They scored on all 7 drives, 7 touchdowns, 7 drives. It was just an absolute slaughter, and Josh Allen was amazing, and the Bills also ran the ball well. What did you think about this game, and are Bills serious contenders to win it all this year?
Well, yes to that question. I think they are. I actually heard the expression that the Bills' offense was perfect, and I never heard that before. But you can't argue with 7 for 7, no punts, no turnovers, very little penalties. So, trying to think with the penalty count, that could be the only thing. I just
penalties,
I just never heard that expression of an offense having a perfect game. So how do you, and that got me thinking, well, how exactly do you measure that? If you get a touchdown every time you get the ball, then from that criteria, it's perfect.
Yeah.
But if they're making a mistake, how do you measure that? I just thought that was an interesting perspective, but
yeah,
it's like 7 for 7. That's pretty impressive. I'd like to know the last time an offense had that many possessions and got a touchdown every time and never punted the ball.
Yeah, because the only time they didn't score is when they decided they weren't going to because they were kneeling it at the end.
Kneeling it at the end, right?
Yeah,
so their 8th possession, they were like, they let the game run out, right?
And they may have had like a kneel down before the half. I don't remember, but it's definitely like the drives that mattered. They scored, but yeah, Josh Allen 21 for 25, so technically not perfect, but I mean, what is that? That's over 80% completion percentage. I mean, like that's.
Is that any good?
Yeah, 84% completion percentage. I think we can live with that. And then 308 yards, 5 touchdowns, no picks, no sacks. The perfect QB rating is 158.3, so he only ended up with 157.6.
Again,
so
not
Josh
perfect.
Allen was not perfect. So whoever you were listening to, Dad, fake news, take
Way
him
off.
off your timeline. You should definitely not listen to that guy anymore.
I'm filing a complaint.
I'm filing a complaint. Fake news. It's fake news. It's terrible. It's unbelievable.
It's the most fake news of all time. And believe me, I know fake news.
Yeah, that is hilarious. But no, it's 21 for 25. They were just amazing. Dawson Knox was awesome as well in this game. The tight end, 5 catches, 89 yards, 2 touchdowns. They did this, and they didn't even use their best weapon on offense. That was the other crazy thing. It's like Stephon Diggs was never getting the ball. Their number 1 receiver. And it's
right.
And you're like, you can't complain because they're scoring every drive. Like it's one of those games where Stephon Diggs is probably just going to be like, okay, I'll take today off. We'll catch Casey next week. But I don't know. It's crazy. Tim, you should look up Justin Ross, a wide receiver from Clemson. Okay, yeah, we'll definitely. I'm gonna do a lot of film breakdowns for a lot of different players, so that's a good one. And
so, Dr. Pig, what did I do?
Cancel JW. What did you say? Oh, for fake news? I don't know. Like the fake news thing? I guess we're.
I don't know.
I don't know either. We need an exclamation or explanation, Pig. An exclamation thing. Yeah, I can't speak English. But anyway, yeah. I also wanted to ask this question about this game. Is this a stain on Bill Belichick's coaching career? Like, is this a knock? This is his first playoff game without Tom Brady. They only scored 17 points. Of course, you could say rookie quarterback, but also he's known as a defensive head coach, and you allowed a quote-unquote perfect game.
Yeah, Certainly not. I mean, it's not one of his bright
Spreading
spots.
fake news. Oh, he said for spreading fake news. You were spreading it.
Okay,
You're the
I got
spreader. Twitter's gonna freaking take you off Twitter. Unbelievable.
the fact
Facebook,
checkers.
you're gone. Yeah.
The fact checkers are on the move right now. I can hear them.
You're in Facebook jail. Gosh darn it, we're gonna. The Tim Sports Talk's gonna be no more. But anyway, no, sorry. Go ahead.
Nope.
Bill Belichick, is this a stain?
No, it's not a bright spot for him.
Understatement. Yeah.
I'm surprised that, offense is what it is. I know rookie quarterback, blah, blah, blah. But to your point, he's a defensive guru. And, I mean, Buffalo was just running on all cylinders, so you got to take that into account. But, yeah, he couldn't even make him punt the ball once, or his team. So not a bright spot for him. Whether or not it's a stain, it'll depend on what he does in the future.
Yeah.
If he never wins another Super Bowl or never gets far into the playoffs, then it's going to be, well, he only did this because of Tom Brady, even though Sam Cassell had pretty good success. Matt, sorry.
Yep. No, you're good.
But yeah, it remains to be seen. Let's just say that.
It's notable, but not the full explanation, right? Like, we need more information.
More data, yes, more input.
Yeah. Tim Sports Talk is all fast. No sensationalism. Okay. Yeah, thanks for saying a word that I can't say there, Pig. Thanks for tightening that out. I appreciate you. Super spreader event. This is a super spreader event of your fake news. Oh, we're canceled. We're just screwed. It is what it is. But
it's all over but the crime.
Good for the Bills. And and you already answered the question. Yes, you do think Bills are legitimate contenders. And I have to agree. And I also wanted to say this about Bill. Yes, this is not a good look. But he did find a way to go 10-7 with a rookie quarterback. And I was still amazed they went 7-9 with the team that they put on the field last year. I thought their team was horrific. To go 7-9, I thought that was impressive. But no, 10-7 this year. And yes, they did run into an absolute buzzsaw named Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. I think they're a phenomenal team.
Right.
And I also think
one thing.
Go ahead.
This is my one bone to pick with Bill Belichick is I get it. He's crotchety and his personality, but I did not see this admittedly, but I heard that he gave the real short shrift to the Bills coach at the end of the game, like just
oh really,
like, and I just don't understand why so many competitive coaches will stop and talk to a guy for a minute and have a little bit of, it doesn't have to be a long one, but my understanding is that he just gave a short handshake and didn't say anything and walked away, and it's like, that's my one thing.
I'm glad you brought that up. But you that's your one thing.
Yep.
Oh, did you want to?
No. Nope.
Okay. I have a theory on that. This is the first time I'm hearing it, but this is just what popped into my head. And I'm glad you mentioned this because I did think about this during the game. I don't know if I ever said it live on the broadcast, but I was thinking about this during the game. I think now hearing that, I think that ties into McDermott laid a message as far as, hey, remember Bill? You never took the foot off the gas. Remember when we would be down by 25 and you would score another touchdown and you would just absolutely continue to put your foot on our necks? Yeah, well, how about that? We scored every single time and we didn't take Josh Allen, even though we're up by 30 in this game. We didn't take Josh Allen out of this game at all until the very last
that's a good
kneel
point.
down.
I didn't think about that.
He said, you know what? Screw you, Bill, for 20 years of bending us over. Take this. And he said it with on the field. He didn't have to say it on the press conference, at the podium. He didn't have to say it there. He didn't have to say it before the game at all. He didn't have to say it during the game. He said it with the decision-making on the field that they never took the foot on the gas until they were ready to kneel down and call it a day. And yeah, it's definitely, I'm actually not maybe so surprised because, it was one of those things where, okay, you want to send that message? Bill is kind of like looking at him like, all right, Jordan, Michael Jordan, is he going to be like Michael Jordan? All right, you gave me the ammo. Next time I see the Buffalo Bills, Fitty Burger. I'm coming after you. That's all I needed to hear. So
Yeah.
it's going to be an interesting if that's a good motivator, or is Sean McDermott going to back it up? And he has the team to back it up. He has the team to be like, oh, you think you're going to shut us out? You think you're going to drop a 50 burger on us? Nope, I'm going to continue to beat you, and I'm going to beat you again, and I'm going to do it again, just like Bill did to the Buffalo Bills for absolutely
No,
2
I get
decades.
it.
Anyway, so there you go. But interesting. I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot to, because I don't think I mentioned it on the initial broadcast as well. Anyway, what up, Pat? 100% agree. Pats
Pat.
will be back on top of the food chain soon, says JMZ. We'll see. We shall see. If it's Mac Jones. Is Mac Jones the real deal? He showed some good things. 24 for 38, 232 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he did throw 2 picks. But one of them was an absolutely incredible play by Micah Hyde. Actually, before moving on, do you remember that first interception? I mean, Mac Jones put that thing right there. Perfect spot for the receiver. But the safety's range on that play,
Yep.
I'm like, oh, that's a touchdown. And then, oh, he batted away. Oh, wait, he intercepted that? Like, it was like all 3 of those in that, like, in a span of 2 seconds. You're like, huh? What? Like, it was, that was an awesome move for, and so Mac Jones, I was a Mac Jones hater, full disclosure. But
by the way, which game was it? And I don't want to jump ahead necessarily, but which game was it where the ball went through the receiver's hands, bounced off the defender's chest, and then the receiver caught it?
It was, I know exactly. It was the Cardinals game. It was the Cardinals Rams game.
Right.
It was Rondell Moore. I remember that place. I love Rondell Moore. And yeah, I compare. Anyway, you know what? Remember to bring that up. I'm going to write that in the notes. Drop, INT, turns catch.
Yeah, incomplete, almost intercepted.
Yeah.
Complete.
Yeah. Just look at RG, me, and Chase Young. Way too soon. Yeah, it's too soon. I agree. Too soon. But so far, so good. I will admit, when as you said, I'm not wrong yet. There could be more to see, but I will admit, so right now, it's trending in the right direction for Mac Jones. He's doing a good job. All right. Here we go. On to the next game. The first NFC East opponent to fall. Another stupid ad. Tampa Bay takes down the Eagles 31-15. Is this game, before you go into your notes, is this game saying that, hey, the Bills are for real? Or is this actually a game that the Eagles were frauds and had no business being there?
And I don't think those are mutually exclusive. I think they could be both. The only thing I was
Which
going
one
to
do you
say
think
is
it's more of?
I think Tampa Bay is pretty daggone good. I mean, you did
Okay.
have the number 1 rushing defense, so apparently Philly's got something. I never thought Philly was that good. You know, they had their moments, but I think it shows that there's a real good shot that Tampa Bay is going to try to defend. And you know, and they get serious. That's one thing about I kind of look at them kind of like the in the NBA where the good teams don't really get serious until the playoffs hit. So it'll be interesting to see. But they certainly didn't have any problem with Philly's number 1 offense or number 1 rushing defense.
Yeah, that is what it came down to. I actually think technically on the year the Bucs were number 3, but I think that was because they had a couple of injuries throughout the year. But when that front 7 is fully healthy, I 1,000% agree with you. They are the number 1 rush defense in the entire league. They are so good with Devin White, Levante David, that big boy Vita Vea. You remember when I wanted Vita Vea? Remember we were in the bowling alley? I was like, Dad, I found who I wanted. And you were like, who? And I was like, Vita Vea. And I was so excited for this mammoth of a human being. But unfortunately, he went 2 picks ahead of us, and we ended up with Daron Payne. Daron Payne's not bad, but I love me some Vita Vea. Anyway, they're awesome. And that's what this game came down to. Were the Eagles going to be able to run the football like they want to? Or was Tampa Bay going to shut them down? And for the most part, they just shut them down. I mean, Boston Scott had one 34-yard run, which really pumped up the averages, but Miles Sanders had 2.3 yards per carry. It was not very good day at all on the run game. The other thing that I did not like about the Eagles' game plan was they basically like refused to get Devontae Smith the ball until it was too late. Like, I think in the first half, I don't know if he had like more than 2 targets, maybe 1 target. I don't think he had a catch until maybe like the last 30 seconds of the half. And the weakness of Tampa Bay's defense is their secondary. And you drafted this guy number 10 overall. You traded up to get Devontae Smith, and yet you don't use him at all in the playoff game? I thought that was odd.
Sorry, William. I followed the first half of your statement. The second half I disagree with, but...
Okay. We had good coaches on our team. We had to let them go. We had a quarterback, Kirk Cousins, while letting the good talent go instead of keeping... yeah, he's not the Kirk Cousins fan. Kirk Cousins wanted too much money. I'm not anti-Kirk Cousins, but I'm anti-Kirk Cousins $45 million. All right. Anyway, back to this game. Tom Brady, 29 for 37, 2 touchdowns. Tampa Bay actually ran the ball 31 times in this game, which I am going to go out on a limb and say that is the most they ran all year, and it might be the most by like 10 carries, because Tampa Bay is known for not running the football, but still, in a 31-0 blowout, Tom Brady still throws 37 times. Do you like that strategy for Tampa Bay to just continuously throw the football all over the place and not run the football, even in a 31-0 blowout?
Well, I guess it goes back to dance with the one that brung you. You know, if passing's worked for him, why change it now? But, you know, if they're trying to if they were playing against a team where they were trying to keep them off the field, then you could argue, hey, they don't run the ball enough because they don't burn enough time. But hey, you're scoring that many points, it doesn't really matter how you do it, right?
Yeah. Winning is winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you can't really say, hey, you blew the other team out, but why did you pass the ball so much?
Yeah, I guess I'm asking for like more in the future. I'm curious how it's going to turn out through the rest of the playoffs for how much they throw the football. Like, will that bite them? Because usually in the playoffs, like in December and January, what wins games is running the football and defense. Like those are the 2 things you have to be able to do to play, like to win consistently in the playoffs. Obviously, in the more modern era, it's becoming less and less popular to run the football. But Tom Brady adapting to the times, because that's another thing that's kind of crazy, is Tom Brady, a 23-year vet or 25-year vet. How many years has he been in the league? Didn't he come in what, 2000, 1999?
Who, Tom Brady?
Yeah, so 23 years.
What's he, 43 right now?
44. Actually, might be 45.
So that would make it 23 years, assuming he went
23.
4 years of college. So,
wow, good for him. Anyway, and it's like he has no problems with adapting it to where the game is going, finding where the rules are, the loopholes, and all that good stuff.
JMZ says 21.
21 years? Okay, so 21 years in the league. He wasn't drafted in 99? If he was drafted in 99, wouldn't that put him at 23 years and now in 2022? Or 22, at least 22 years, right? I don't know.
I assume he looked it up, but I'll double check. But go ahead.
Anyway,
well, we move on to the next game. I'll look this up.
All right, yeah, we'll move on to the next game. But good for Tampa Bay. They move on 31-15 and defeat the Philadelphia Eagles. There wasn't really much drama. Eagles tried to make it a little interesting at the end, scoring a couple touchdowns in the fourth quarter. But in reality, Tampa Bay just absolutely manhandled the Eagles. All right.
So he came in 2000.
2000.
So 2000 to 2021. So I guess technically that's 22 years.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so
it's 2000 and 2021.
So we're right in the middle there, JMZ. You said 21, I said 23. So there you go. Neither of us can count is what we found out today. And what's great about that is I'm a math major in college. So there you go. So, okay, on to the next game. The Dallas Cowboys, the greatest team to ever bless a football field, ever in the history of ever, the most talented team ever constructed, never to be seen before. Of
With the
course,
best coach ever.
Yeah, the best coaches and everything, the best defense, the best, oh my gosh, the Dallas, America's team Cowboys obviously lost their playoff game to the San Francisco 49ers 23-17. And there was some drama at the end of it. There was some big, big drama. But what did you think about this game?
Well, I liked what Tony Dungy said, that he goes, forget the last 14 seconds or 40 seconds of the game or whatever it was, minute and 14 or whatever the time was. He said, let's talk about only 74 rushing yards, allowing 5 sacks, committing 14 penalties. He goes, those are a lot more concerning to me than the last minute and 14 seconds. But my overall view is, and take it for what you want, I think the refs did everything in their power up until that last second thing to give the Cowboys as much time as they possibly could to try to get back in this game. And the only other thing I wanted to say was when the San Francisco defense, when they thought they got that first down, were on the sideline waving at the crowd going, bye, see ya, bye-bye. And and then they reversed that first down. I thought, oh man, karma. I thought for sure Dallas was going to come back and win that game. But, they remarked a ball, and I could see where they're coming from, but it was 6 inches, maybe. I mean, it went from like this far in front of the first down marker to this far behind, and they remarked that. They reset the clock after that, where it was like it was going to go down to 40. I think they said they were going to have somewhere 30-some seconds left after they ran the clock down. They reset the play clock to 25 and reset the game clock to whatever it was. It was like, now it's not 30-some seconds anymore. Now it's 40-some seconds. Mm-hmm. And it just was like one thing after the other. And I just think Dak Prescott screwed up and ran a little too – it was absolutely understood what they were going to do. He just needed to dive about 5 yards earlier, which would have given them another second or two. Then they could have set the ball and snapped, because that was going to be their, I won't call it a Hail Mary, because a pass from the 23-yard line or the 25-yard line is not necessarily a Hail Mary. But they were trying to get to the point where they had a realistic shot at the end zone, and he just ran a little too long. And I thought they were going to reverse that 1 second too, but go ahead.
Honestly, I 1,000% agree with you that the refs, I mean, I wouldn't say they did everything in their power. I wouldn't say 100% agree with you. I'm 90% agreeing with you then. Because they did call a holding penalty against Dallas's defense before to force another timeout. Basically, they gave him an automatic first down, and then that gave Dallas a lot less time in there. But the holding penalty was 1,000% warranted.
Oh my God, it was so obvious. He
tackled the guy. He literally, the pulling guard was coming up to try to block Micah Parsons, and he reached out, grabbed him across, and just tackled him to the ground. I mean, if they didn't throw a flag on that play, let them play. I mean, that's as if the wide receiver corner, let them play, and the wide receiver just absolutely shoved him out of bounds the entire time. And it's like, hey, refs, let him play. Why are you throwing a defensive holding downfield? Let him play, refs. I mean, it was unbelievable. But the final play, to ever blame the refs in that situation is beyond me, because the ball was not placed at the proper spot. If I was the ref, I would have gone up and grabbed that ball, looked at my side judge, like, is it here? Where is it supposed to be? He just set it down for them anywhere. That ball was 2.5 yards ahead of where he was where he knelt down.
Dak Prescott laid the ball there, and the ref came up and set the play there. So,
right.
Yeah, it was Dak Prescott.
But it was 2.5 yards ahead of where it was supposed to be. Like, if that was a normal circumstance, the ref would have came up, picked the ball up, looked at his side judge. Where do you have it marked? Okay, 2 yards backwards, then placed it. You would have had zero time. And then to complain about where the ref was before the play. Have you heard this angle of it? That he had to run forever away? Who in the world do you expect this ref to be? Are you expecting an invisible Usain Bolt that pops in and out of existence and can run along with Dak Prescott and make sure that he avoids them no matter which direction he decides to run or not run? And like, it's like the expectations are outrageous.
Or even to know that Dak Prescott was going to do a quarterback draw to begin with.
Exactly. Like, and then also are they going to pitch it? Like, I can't run right behind them 5 yards. Are they going to do like a weird pitch play? Are they trying to, or the lateral play? Like, it's unbelievable the thought processes of that you have, the mental gymnastics, they call it, that you have to go through to put any blame on other than Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy for the horrific time management right there at the end of the game. Like, that was beyond silly. Good to hear this. I didn't hear this. Dak apologized for the ref comments, because after the game, did you hear what he said?
Yeah, about the trash being thrown at the refs.
Yeah, good. Like, they deserve, as if they deserved it. It's like, no, they didn't deserve. You deserved it. Right. You should have had every single piece of trash thrown your way.
And
it was unbelievable.
By the way, if the Cowboys are going to keep trying this, like pass the ball and then pitch it out to somebody, they might want to get guys that could actually execute it, because they tried the same thing against the Redskins and the guy dropped the ball and it went out of bounds. This one, the guy threw it would have been a first down, but he threw a horrible lateral that was like 3 yards past the guy, and he's like, it's like, if you're going to, it's a brilliant play, but you might want to work on the execution of it.
Yeah. Jerry Jones implements new rule. All refs must run a 4.2 40-yard dash. Yeah, yes. Like, what do you want to also have, like a GoPro? Like, he's running behind him like a special camera? Like, also you need to, like, oh my goodness gracious. The fat ref couldn't get there in time. And then they didn't give him any room to cut, like, oh, we ran into Dak Prescott on the set. Well, they didn't make any room for him. He's got to be the one to set the ball. Like, we're not in backyard football where we decide where the ball is placed. No, you hand it to the ref, and the ref places the ball on the ground. You don't get to decide where it goes. It's unbelievable.
Well, this is why if you're going to do something like that, you make sure you have at least 5 seconds, bare minimum 5 seconds, to let all that stuff take place. But for him to run to where it was like 3 or 2 seconds left when...
No, it wasn't that long. There was actually a decent amount of time on the clock. I think it was actually like 7-8 seconds after he slid. But that's not enough time to get the ball placed and
your guys
set
lined up.
When the guy that's supposed to do it is behind you and you don't know what play you're going to run.
Refs be outrunning Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, refs be outrunning Tyreek Hill. Yeah, everybody must be a cheetah to ref this game. Like, as I said, basically the new referees is the Olympic sprint team of the USA. The USA sprint team are the new refs of the NFL. Yeah, sign an agreement with those. But anyway, yeah, I thought it was ridiculous. And then another thing I loved about this game, I mentioned it on the show last night, but I'll mention it for you. Kurt Warner has a YouTube channel, and you don't really watch YouTube, so I wouldn't expect you to know about this, but he does a lot of film breakdowns. Like, that's his thing. He's an ex-quarterback, of course, and he does a lot of film breakdowns for different things that goes on, and he made a video saying that Dallas and Dak did not show up in the playoff game. And I love the casual, just completely dismantling of the next great thing Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator. You've heard about Kellen Moore, of like, he's the next head coaching job. He's in line. Like, people are going to be drooling over him. He's this, he's that. Kurt Warner just absolutely, like, every single play he pulled up, he's like, I don't like this play design. Like, this design, the design of this play is not good. But he never mentioned Kellen Moore by name. He never attacked him personally. He never, like, absolutely trashed a play. He just casually was saying, like, yeah, this is not how it's supposed to be ran. You're supposed to do it this way. Like, this is how I teach it. This is how, like, and here's the reason why. When they play zone, you cannot get this playoff and blah, blah, blah. And, like, and this is exactly why San Francisco shut down Dallas for most of the game. And it's like, it's hilarious to me as a Skins fan, obviously, just the casual dismantling of the best thing to ever hit the face of the earth, Kellen Moore.
Just the concepts, though, not the person.
Yeah, just the concept is poor. It's just a terrible idea. But yeah, anyway. But about the actual gameplay, yeah, Dak Prescott went 23 for 43, 254 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Not very good, as they said. They did go for it on a fake punt. That was fun, and that was a great decision. I thought. Of course, it worked, but also the timing. They were down. I thought it gave them an opportunity to get back in this game, and they fooled it. They fooled them for sure. The Niners running game showed up big time. 38 carries, 169 yards, giggity, of offense. 2 touchdowns also. Jimmy G, 16 for 25, 172 yards, and an interception. Yeah, this game, I'm glad I used my reverse psychology because you know how the NFL loves to prove me wrong. I was like, I'm going to pick Dallas because I think they're also the better team. I think a lot of people are picking San Francisco because it's the quote unquote easy pick because they're probably the closest matchup. But I'm glad. I was happy to be wrong.
Yeah.
Any last things on this one before we move on to the next one?
Nope.
All right.
Oh, wow.
The final game.
We were worried about filling up an hour. It's 8 o'clock.
Oh, yeah, we're doing a lot. All right, 2 more games, and then we'll do our weekly predictions, and we'll get out of here. Big Ben retires. Kansas City dismantles the Steelers, but this game was close, and the Steelers were the first one to score with 10:41 to go in the second quarter, and they were actually up 7-0. Did you ever think that Kansas City did not, Kansas City's not showing up, they're not going to win?
Well, I know the beginning of the game, it was a punt fest.
Yeah.
Most of the first half, and then they ended up scoring over 50 points between the two of them, right?
60.
But of course,
they scored
yeah,
63 points as a team.
I know. I told you I bet Kansas City in the over, and of course I'm watching the game, and it's like 8 minutes left in the second quarter, and it's 0-0, and I'm going, okay, here we go. But no, I guess I felt Pittsburgh I thought looked flat, their offense anyway. And why they suddenly found themselves in the second half, why weren't they doing that the whole game? The one touchdown drive they got, but I never felt really any doubt that Kansas City was going to pull it out. I felt like they were going to do it. I didn't expect the scoring explosion that happened, from about halfway through the second quarter on, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm thinking that I don't know. I think it's going to be Kansas City and the Bucs. I know Green Bay is going to have something to say about that. I get it, but I think the Bucs and Kansas City is going to be a rematch.
Ooh. All right. We're definitely going to go through that on the predictions. That's interesting that you say that. So yeah, I was just looking here at the the win probability. Even when the Steelers went up 7-0, ESPN never gave them a positive win probability. So even with the 7-0 lead, Kansas City was still a 52% favorite at that point. And then within about 10 minutes of game time, they were back to a 94%.
Yeah.
It was that quick.
Yeah, it's like you're shutting out Kansas City and you've got a touchdown and they still can't give you a 50-50 shot. That's sad.
Yeah, you're still underdogs in this game.
Yeah.
So Mahomes is an absolute stud. But Big Ben, that was probably his last game ever. Do you think it should be his last game? Do you think he should try to come back for 1 year, or do you think it's already been too long?
I'd be interested to know what's in Tomlin's head about whether or not he would want him to come back. I think Tomlin might be done with him. He's getting old. So I think it's probably time. But I'm not, I guess the flip side of that is I'm not absolutely convinced that he's going to be able to just walk away. You know what I'm saying? There's no injuries. He's not really banged up that much. I don't think he's a big guy. So he's not he hasn't been crushed his whole career. So I would not be surprised if he doesn't figure out a way. And who knows, maybe Pittsburgh's like, yeah, well, if you want to come back, go somewhere else. Then he does a Joe Montana or Brett Favre, and how many other quarterbacks have done that where they've left the team because the team's done with them and they go somewhere else. So I would not be shocked to see him come back, but Equally, I would not be shocked if he goes through with his retirement.
Yeah, and he has not announced a retirement yet, which is interesting. So you're right. Maybe there's a little bit of fire somewhere in there that he maybe wants to come back. And honestly, I don't know if the Steelers deny it because I don't know what in the world they're going to do at quarterback. Like their quarterback situation is sketchy, and because they made the playoffs, they don't have a high pick to go ahead and draft a quarterback potentially. Like it's definitely interesting of what in the world, if not Ben, then who? I know Dwayne Haskins is there right now, but I'm hearing that he's not doing that well, even with Mike Tomlin. So I don't know about that. It's interesting, but yeah, this game was pretty much just an absolute blowout. It was interesting for about a quarter and a half, and then Kansas City finally decided, oh wait, we're supposed to score, and they did everything. The one thing I loved about this game was when the offensive lineman scored a touchdown. Did you see that?
Yeah, hold on. By the way, see you later, JMZ. Thanks for the accolades.
All right, man. We need as many as possible talk skins football. Thanks, man. Good work, boys. Appreciate it, man.
Have
Thanks
a good
for the
night.
kind words.
Yes, thank you.
Half
All right, I'm
skin
sorry.
season.
What was your question?
Did you see when the offensive lineman scored a touchdown?
Oh, when he called ineligible? Are you talking about that?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, yep.
Yeah, I love that. That guy, you could see the chubby cheeks coming out of that guy's face from the helmet. They're popping out. They're so chubby, like me. But that was awesome to see. He was so excited. I think he literally ran from sideline to sideline in that end zone, pumping up the crowd. He spiked the football like he's Gronkowski. The smile on his face, you could see through his face mask. He was a kid in a candy shop.
Well, you got to think as an offensive lineman, the only time you ever get your name called is if it's a holding penalty.
True.
Right?
True. Yeah.
How often do they talk about offensive linemen other than a really good block? But yeah, so he finally gets his name in lights and an instant replay of him doing a touchdown, and everybody knows his name.
Yeah.
So I can understand it. But yeah, I felt good for him.
Al Goretti is his name.
I like your description. His face coming out.
Oh, it's the cheeks were popping out. I mean, it was like
the mask is like
the face mask was not like the helmet was not having a good time. That thing was stretched to the gill. That's a triple X helmet wide, a triple X wide helmet.
By the way, you're talking to somebody who had to go. When I played boys club football, I had to go to the next the class up to get a helmet that would fit my head. So.
Yeah, for those that don't know, my dad's name growing up was Big because of his big head. Like that's literally his nickname is his big noggin. And we do have some big noggins. Our bodies don't show it, but we do have some big heads. I got a big head too, but not as big as Dad. Dad's head's bigger. But less brains. So there's just more empty space. Don't get it twisted. No.
Okay.
Tell yourself that, Tim. Tell yourself that. Good for you. No. All right. So that was the Kansas City game, and it was an absolute blowout, but it was fun. The Rams-Cardinals game. This was probably this was the second biggest surprise. I think the biggest surprise was the Bills absolutely manhandling the Patriots, but the Cardinals to completely not show up here, losing 34-11. The Rams, Matthew Stafford only had to throw 17 times to win this game, which is definitely not something that you would expect out of the Rams offense because it seems so high-powered through the air. But what did you think about this game?
Well, I wanted to ask you a question because I actually thought the Cardinals were going to win, but was DeAndre Hopkins out?
Yes.
Like, no, I'm not. I know he was out, but was it like known or was that like a last-minute thing?
I think there was a possibility he could play, but
because I think that made a huge. Yeah, I thought that made that right there was a huge. When you have a receiver like that, that's not even if he's out there running decoy, to make somebody have to pay attention to him. But I think that majorly affected the Cardinals, and I thought, oh my God, what's his name?
Kyler Murray.
Thank you.
Yeah,
just totally went blank. Looked, at least in the first half, looked lost.
Yeah.
Absolutely lost. And I know there was a lot of pressure on him, but just clues. And I'm not going to compare it or say it's the same thing, but it reminded me of earlier in this year when Patrick Mahomes kind of lost his what he was. That period of games when they were losing games and he just
Mm-hmm.
didn't look like
Yeah, he had
the
like
Pat
9
Mahomes.
interceptions in like
Yeah,
5 games or something crazy like that. It was
and then
nuts.
it
6
like
games.
came back to him where it's like, no, this is what I am, this is
Yeah.
what I do, and then he snapped back. And I thought Kyler Murray did that a little bit in the second half, but he just looked overwhelmed.
Yeah, it was bad. And the quintessential play was when he was nearly about to get sacked in the end zone. Then he flicks it in the air, and then ends up instead of giving him 2 points, you give him 7, and it turns into a 21-0 game. And you're just like, this is the game that's going. Everything's going right for the Rams, and everything's going wrong for the Cardinals, except for that one play that you mentioned earlier, that Rondell Moore, where Rondell Moore, it's a drag route. It goes right through his hands, ends up in the arms of the defender. The defender kind of tipped it up, and then Rondell Moore steals it back. And, feel like some people in the chat were like, what an amazing play. He did a great job. Oh, my God, what an amazing play. And I was like, that's kind of like saying, you did a great job as a fireman after you started the fire. You caused the problem.
Yeah, you let the ball go through your hands.
And then, okay, the hero syndrome. Like, you got to cause the problem first before you become a hero. And I thought that was funny. I love Rondell Moore, but that was clearly not his best moment. But then he turned it around. I picked the Rams in this game because of the experience. Matt Stafford's been in the league forever. Sean McVay's been to a Super Bowl before. Aaron Donald's been here before. Jalen Ramsey's been here before. And they have the experience at this level. Cliff Kingsbury, Kyler Murray, these guys, these are their first playoff games. And I thought that showed. I thought it was huge. It was clearly evident they were not ready for the moment. Either of them. And the Cardinals just didn't show up at all. And interesting stat here from Pig. I don't know if this is the true. First time Stafford's NFL career where he didn't throw the ball 20 times.
Wow.
And it ends up being his first playoff win ever. I didn't mention that in the Bengals game, but yeah, that was also the Bengals' first win in 41 years. But that was for Matthew Stafford's first playoff game in his career since I think he was drafted in 2009. So good for him. It definitely came off a nice run game, but.
Yeah, by the way, football fan, I'm not sure if he's the best receiver, but I think he's got the best name.
He's got the best name, Cooper Kupp. My wife loves Cooper Kupp. She's like, Cooper Kupp? And she wants him on her fantasy team every year. And, of course, that's why she beats me. But I don't think he's the best.
His brother half and quarter.
Who's 41? Oh, did I say 41? You know what I keep getting confused when I say 41 years? You're right. It was 31 years for the Bengals. Georgia won their first national championship for the first time in 41 years. And the weekend before, and now I'm getting those mixed up in my head whenever I say one or the other. But you're right. Bengals was the last time they won a playoff game was in 1990, and it was 31 years ago. Now that you can finally... Did you hear this thing? The Bengals never won a playoff game. Like, nobody had ever sent a text saying the Bengals won a playoff game. And now you can honestly say that. I'm sure a lot of Cardinals fans were texting each other, yay, we could finally say it.
Bengals fans, right? Bengals.
What did I say? Chargers? I meant
You
Bengals.
said Cardinals, but yeah.
I said Cardinals. Oh, because we're talking about the Cardinals game. But anyway, yes, Bengals fans.
First time in history someone could text that the Bengals won a playoff game. I thought
It'd
that
be
was
true.
Funny.
It'd be true. But anyway, yep, the Rams end up moving on. And let's go ahead and hop into our predictions for the next round. And honestly, let's just go all the way to the Super Bowl. It's not that many games. It's only 7 games left in the entire
year. Yeah, but we have
year.
to have something to talk about next week.
Well, the teams could change. And things could change. As far as injuries, you never know. Like, I want to know who you're predicting to go on to the next round, and then based on that, who do you guys go to the Super Bowl? But if your Super Bowl pick ends up getting knocked out this week, then you're going to have to pick a new team.
Okay.
And I think we'll find things to talk about next week. Don't worry. All right, let's pick these games real quick, and then we'll get out of here. Sounds good?
Yep.
All right. Cincinnati, Tennessee. Who do you got?
Cincinnati.
Oh, I got Cincinnati too. But I love Tennessee, and Tennessee could totally win this game. That one's gonna be a dogfight, and it might end up being the best game of the weekend. San Francisco, Green Bay.
Green Bay.
I got Green Bay as well. Just too much for Aaron Rodgers and company. Rams, Tampa Bay. This is an interesting one for sure. They played earlier this year. Rams ended up winning by 10, I believe, but now they're coming back into the playoffs. Does Tom Brady upset them, or
Yeah,
you think the Rams?
I think Tampa Bay wins. I think their injury situation is different than it was then, or I could be mistaken, but I think Tampa Bay wins it.
All right, I am with you as well. So we're chalk so far. Well, not chalk, but me and you are the same, is what I'm trying to say. Buffalo Bills versus Kansas City.
I think Kansas City. I know
Kansas
that's going to be a
City.
tight game. I think Buffalo is running, but I think Kansas City is getting right at the right time. So I think they pull it out. And just to let you know, my prediction is Tampa Bay and Kansas City rematch in the Super Bowl. So that's my basis for it. I think they go through.
Well, there you go. Okay, well, so we're very similar, except I have Buffalo in the
Okay.
Kansas City game. I think Buffalo is going to beat Kansas City. They beat them earlier this year, 38-20. Of course, Kansas City, you could say, was not quite in form, but I think Buffalo is the more complete team. I think Pat
Yeah,
Mahomes
I
is
think their
better
defense better.
than Allen, but I think that Buffalo's the more complete team moving on to the next round. I also have I have Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl, and then I have Buffalo in the Super Bowl. So yeah, one of us will have to change our Super Bowl pick because one of our Super Bowl participants is going to get knocked out. And I'll save the who's the winner next week. But anyway, all right. Well, that's a show. Definitely a long one. And thanks for hanging out, Dad. I hope you had a good time.
Oh, I did. I hope everybody in the chat had a good time. Great comments as always. And you always keep the chat lively. You make me laugh. So I enjoy that.
The Pop-Tarts. Calling the stadium the toaster. That was a highlight. That was good.
Yeah.
That was funny. But yes, thank you everybody in the chat. It was a whole lot of fun. I appreciate everybody. And we're going to call this one a show. And we'll see you next week. I will again not being I will not be doing the play-by-play.
Appreciate you too.
On Saturday. But I will be doing the play-by-play on Sunday. I have plans on Saturday, but I will be back Sunday. So we will be doing the Rams-Bucks game at 3 o'clock and the Bills-Chiefs at 6:30. But I will definitely be keeping my eye on the other two games and seeing how that goes. I don't know if you said yes, I did see your Discord thing. That was cool. Appreciate you all, says football fan. Thank you. Any last things to say there, Dad?
Nope, I'm good. Everybody have a good night and looking forward to next week.
All
me
right,
being
sounds
right.
Good. Until next time.